back to the United States, I decided that if you could use propaganda for war, you could certainly use it for peace. And propaganda got to be a bad word because of the Germans using it. So what I did was to try to find some other words. So we found the word Council on Public Relations.
Bernays returned to New York and set up as a public relations counsel in a small office off Broadway. It was the first time the term had ever been used. Since the end of the 19th century, America had become a mass industrial society, with millions clustered together in the cities. Bernays was determined to find a way to manage and alter the way these new crowds thought and felt. To do this, he turned to the writings of his uncle Sigmund. While in Paris, Bernays had sent his uncle a gift of some Havana cigars. In return, Freud had sent him a copy of his general introduction to psychoanalysis. Bernays read it, and the picture of hidden irrational forces inside human beings fascinated him. This series is about how those in power have used Freud's theories to try and control the dangerous crowd in an age of mass democracy. At the heart of the he showed American corporations for the first time how they could make people want things they didn't need by linking mass-produced goods to their unconscious desires. Out of this would come a new political idea of how to control the masses. By satisfying people's inner selfish desires, one made them happy and thus docile. It was the start of the all-consuming self, which has come to dominate our world today.
Eddie Bernays saw the way to sell product was not to sell it to your intellect, that you ought to buy an automobile, but that you will feel better about it if you have this automobile.
What the corporations realized they had to do was transform the way the majority of Americans thought about products. One leading Wall Street banker, Paul Mazur of Lehman Brothers, was clear about what was necessary. We must shift America, he wrote, from a needs to a desires culture. People must be trained to desire, to want new things even before the old have been entirely consumed. We must shape a new mentality in America. Man's desires must overshadow his needs. The World's Fair was an extraordinary success and captured America's imagination. The vision it portrayed was of a new form of democracy, in which business responded to people's innermost desires in a way politicians could never do. But it was a form of democracy that depended on treating people not as active citizens as Roosevelt did, but as passive consumers. Because this, Bernays believed, was the key to control in a mass democracy.
It's not that the people are in charge, but that the people's desires are in charge. The people are not in charge. The people exercise no decision-making power within this environment. So democracy is reduced from something which assumes an active citizenry to the idea of the public as passive consumers. Driven primarily by instinctual or unconscious desires, and that if you can in fact trigger those needs and desires, you can get what you want from them.
right where you are. Stay right there. Stay right there.
Hello everyone, welcome to GGN. Today's Thursday, September 27th, 2012. First article I have for you is 60 hurt, 11 arrested as fans riot when turned back from attending the MTV show in Spain. So big news, everybody. This is going to determine the fate of all of our future. Officials say 60 people have been injured and 11 arrested when music fans rioted outside a Madrid theater after it closed its doors to avoid exceeding its capacity limits. City police said thousands of people or sheeple have turned up at the venue in hope of attending a free music event hosted by music television channel MTV on Friday night. They said that police said once the theater was full, scuffles broke out in the street outside and people began throwing bottles. Moscow derby turns violent as fans protest club's management. So this happened on Wednesday with the Russian Cup between Moscow and something else. As the derby was marred by clashes between fans and was abandoned earlier in the second half. It says the match was preceded by several scuffles between fans outside the ground, but things became more serious inside the stadium. It was interrupted for 10 minutes into the first half when one of the fans peppered the pitch with a dozen flares, but was restarted after the team captains pleaded with them to behave. Then it says, however, early in the second half, more flares were thrown from torpedo stands. It was accompanied by the crowd swearing and throwing a storm of abuse towards both the Dynamo fans and the home team's management. The referee had no other choice but to stop the game. And this is a good opportunity for me to make a point about the NFL, what was going on with the whole referee Green Bay thing going, because I see it all over the news, and you can see people that are into sports talking about it. I could overhear people around me in my neighborhood talking about it stupid, like they actually, again, like they have some kind of say, well, I think, Green Bay should have another shot, blah, 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 right? Rabble, rabble, rabble. And the whole point is what? Is the whole thing's rigged. It's just, it's so sad. I mean, I've seen it the last couple years because I played fantasy football, like I've mentioned before. This is the first year that I'm not playing it, but I'm kind of glad that I'm not, because it's just becoming blatantly obvious to even the hoople heads that the fucking thing is rigged. And they're making a big deal out about how it's the referees. Oh, it's because we have the replacement referees. Okay, that's going to help it make it less rigged, right? So they're making it about the referees vice it actually being a big fucking staged thing, right? So next up we have inflation. America spends less on food and movies to pay for soaring cell phone obsession. So like they said in South Park last night, you think people would be more concerned about the economy, things that are going on? No, they care about football and the refs, right? So, yeah, it says here, America's mania with cell phones as an aspirational status fad hits new records every day. It goes on and it says that, in a word, it gets worse. As the Wall Street Journal reports, spending on food away from home fell by $48, apparel spending declined. For clothes, as entertainment spending dropped by $126. But it goes on and says that Americans don't care what other discretionary items are cut, even such American staples as eating out and watching movies, just so they can keep up with all the other Joneses sporting a brand new iPhone, while everyone's credit card bill just gets larger and larger. And here's this dialing up change in household spending by type from 2007 to 2011. You can see all the ones that it went down. And cell phone services go up. More than half of all U.S. cell phone owners carry a device like an iPhone, a shift that has unsettled household budgets across the country. It says government data shows people have spent more on phone bills over the past 4 years, even as they have dialed back on dining out, clothes, entertainment. This individual here, a 40-year-old, said that he and his wife now pay $200 a month for cell phone service, says up by about $50 from earlier last year, even as they managed to cut spending on groceries by shopping at discount at Aldi and stuff like that. I went through my own thing too with cell phones. I first had a cell phone, I think it was in the military, like in 2001, And then I couldn't take it anymore from 2001 to 2000 and what was it, 2008, because the bills kept going higher every month, higher, 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 and there would be no reason for it. It didn't go over or anything like that. And every time I wanted to get out, I couldn't because I was locked into a contract. And then when the phones broke, in order to get it, you got to get their phone. That's $300. And then in order to get the phone for like $20, you have to renew the contract. So they really do get you. And every month they increase the rate. So eventually I just said fuck it, and I bought a prepaid phone, and I leave the battery out of it when I'm not using it. And I could take a lot of shit for that too from friends and family about it. But I don't care. Email me. There really is there must be some kind of social experiment with those cell phones, because people do take it personal, because you don't have your cell phone on 24/7, so their asses can reach you anytime that they want to. Oh yeah, and again, they don't have any problem busting out their cell phone, with cameras and microphones being used and radiating you. But hey, if you light up a cigarette, God forbid, bust out the batons and start breaking your legs, right? Panasonic, Canon closed factories in China due to violent protests. This is from September 17th, 2012. So see they got the useful idiots out there in China actually having to have Japan shut factories because they got them all riled up, the Chinese government that is, over the island dispute. I'm loving it. Fast food logos are imprinted in child's brains, says study. A study has found that fast food logos are branded into the minds of children from an early age. It says that obesity rates from age 6 to 11 years old in the U.S. were increased from 7% in 1980 to 20% in 2008. So a study conducted by University of Missouri, Kansas, and the Kansas Medical Center showed children 60 logos from popular food brands like Rice Krispies, KFC, and 60 logos from popular non-food brands like BMW, FedEx. Says that they were between 10 and 14. They used an MRI scanner which measured the blood flow to different areas of the brain. They watched the brains of these children react to the different logos. So this is what we were just talking about in the beginning of the video, right, with Edward Bernays, about desires over needs, about stimulating your emotions, right? So they showed parts of the brain that control pleasure, and appetite lit up. The brains did not do the same when showed images from companies not associated with food. They say researchers' concern is that marketers for these companies are tapping into the reward portions of brain long before children develop self-control. Though there's another guy that's loving it, or maybe not. This McFury, I know this picture is outrageous. Onions on hamburger sent Oregon man into a McFury. So, yeah, it says here that unexpected inclusion of onions on a hamburger sent one Oregon man into a police called a McFury, which could not be alleviated after he was offered a free replacement burger. Say reportedly threw a soda in the McDonald's manager's face and smashed a cash register over the dispute. So this is why they like those psychological profiles for jobs like these. So when you have to deal with the blowback of social engineering like this, you don't just punch the guy in the face and lose your job, right? No, you just take it. You take it like a man. Like a lot of those people in jobs right now, they have to do what they got to do, because not only will they not get a raise because they're expendable, but they can find somebody else because they're expendable. Walmart took over Chile in only 3 years, and other countries are terrified of it. 3 years after entering Chile, Walmart controls a staggering 34% of the entire market. A report by UN Global Union explores the impact of Walmart on its suppliers in foreign countries. It says in the long term, Walmart pushes prices paid to farmers and manufacturers down rather than raising them, and producers unable to accept such concessions simply go out of business. The company is so large that it has the power to dictate the terms of suppliers' contracts, including turnaround time, quality, quantity, and price. And the last article I have for this first video is Florida Walmart called police on children who sang God Bless America on 9/11. So it says here that store management of Walmart called them a liability and called the police on the 7 to 10-year-olds reporting a flash mob. Please join me in part 2. This is GGN and I'm Darko. Thank you.